Hi guys, so this is I think the fifth take today, the fifth different program in the last week I've tried to use. Let me make this bigger. Hopefully this is gonna work out. Hopefully nobody's going to interrupt me again. Hopefully I can finish this today. Because I'll start forgetting what I want to talk about. So, hi guys. Kara's asked me to help you guys out with Instagram. Now, you may be wondering why me. I'm not an Instagram expert in the sense that I don't work for Instagram. I'm not an Instagram influencer. That's not something I'm interested in. I do, however, get sales from Instagram. Like, I think I did the numbers, I think last month or something like that. 50% of my sales are all guest sales. So they don't even have an Etsy account. Of which I know for a fact 20% follow me on Instagram. I know because, you get the name and the surname, and I know exactly who it is. So in that sense, Instagram is working for me. So one of the reasons Instagram is working for me is because I have targeted followers, which I've mentioned in my other video, but I'll do another one. I think the quality is off, and I don't think I explained it well. Hashtags are a huge thing on Instagram. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow. And also the content. Now, the content you use, it's one of the most important things on Instagram. Every single photo you put up has to be a great photo. That's first and most important. Videos are big on Instagram. I'm going to start using videos as well. There's also Instagram stories, which we'll talk about another day. There's just loads and loads of things. But just today, we're going to be talking about content. This program allows me 15 minutes, so it may be a part 1, part 2. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it won't be. Hopefully I'll stick to the 15 minutes because I want to make this as clear as possible, but also I don't want to be taking up too much of anybody's time. None of us have free time just floating about. So one of the questions, I say so a lot, don't I? Anyways, one of the questions that I saw on Etsy, the Etsy forums, some Facebook groups I follow, and various things like people who have contacted me directly is, what do I post? Because at some point they've heard the 3-to-1 rule, give 3, ask for 1, which is great. Here's my son. Ciao, Luca. Ne, neću se šetam. Možda dođeš i kažeš ciao. Wait, one. You can come say hi. No? He wants to drag me either to the living room or somewhere to play with him. I can't seem to explain that I'm doing something right now. So we're going to try and ignore him. We're going to do our very best. Yes, Kara, I take your cats and I raise you a bored toddler. That's always a fun day. So, 3-to-1 rule. Now that's wonderful if you do blogs. Because as a blogger on Instagram, you can't be like, here's my new article, here's my new article, here's my new article. It doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. So we're going to ignore him. Just ignore. We're going to continue what we're talking about. It's kind of hard to ignore, I know, but because right now I'm looking at the video on my screen at him, so I don't turn around, and he's going to destroy my home. Luca! What radiš? Izađi, ajde idi gledaj sad. Luca! This is what it feels like to be an Etsy mom. Luca! Okay, we're just gonna ask him to get out. I'm gonna try and close the door, but we'll see how that works. I'm pretty sure we have like 3 minutes, so we're gonna talk quickly. Okay, so if you're a blogger, that works. If you sell physical products, your customer base, your audience is very different. That's the most important thing to mention. They care about your products. They want to see new products. They want to see your products. So you should really think of your Instagram as your second storefront. That being said, you don't have to just post products? You can. That's the beauty of it. But let's say, what if, like, for Jeffra, what if you have less than 30 items? Or you have loads of items, but it's boring to just put just the products, right? You want something more interesting to grab the attention of new customers, because your existing customers, your existing audience, that's what they care about. They also care about other stuff, but less personal, because they are following you as a business. So here's just a few mentions of what you should be posting. Your products, as I mentioned. These can also be lifestyle or editorial photos. So whether it is like commercial photos, ads, right? Your process can be a flat lay, for example, of the finished product in the middle, and then surrounded by the tools that you use to make it. Or it can be a short video, because Instagram allows you 60 seconds of video, of like a really fast forwarded beginning to end of a product. That might be something you would be interested in. It could also be a video of how you use a certain product. That could work great for Kara. Like, I'd love to see a product of her mold's actual. So here's the mold, and then what it looks like what are the results of the mold. That would be awesome. Or like making of a cake using only her mold, 60 seconds, right? And then a video doing that. That's interesting, and it sells the molds. For Heather's also jewelry like me. There's no way I'm gonna put a how to make any of my products. My competition's huge. The chance of somebody imitating me is monumental. Same for Heather. But if you do a fast forwarded version where very little is seen, but it does still show that process, it's awesome. So your process, it can also be a picture of your workspace or whatever, right? Now, you have to think of what would be interesting to the customer and what's not giving too much to the competition. You need to find a balance for your business. You want to share your best reviews. This includes the photos that your customers have left. Technically speaking, they've left it on a huge public platform. So using those photos, not that big a deal. If you feel uncomfortable, ask them. But they have already shared it. That is no longer their private property. They've shared it on a public platform. It is now public. You, as a person, you want to share photos of yourself. But not just, you can't do just like a, yay, this is me kind of photo. But you also want to do a photo of you working, you and your family, you filling orders, that kind of thing. Photos of your actual envelopes, not showing the addresses, obviously. They're also awesome to show your business is booming. You're doing well. This inspires people to buy things. Recently, I started reading Words That Sell that Kara and Renee mentioned, and one of the things had it glued somewhere here. In order to sell, you need to persuade and motivate. Now, you need to motivate people. That's what you need to have in your mind. That's what your Instagram is for, to inspire them, to motivate them, you want to be positive. You want to show your products in all kinds of ways it can be used. These are the things you should be talking about as far as content is concerned. Now, because we all have very different audiences, like what works on my Instagram does not work on Alex's Instagram. We both sell jewelry, but very different styles and very different applications. He sells wedding bands and I sell fashion jewelry. The same things will not work on both platforms. So how do you figure out what's the best thing for you, for your business? And for that, I have a little assignment for you guys. So let's just go now to the screen, and then it'll make more sense, hopefully. We're already getting to the end of this, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to call this part 1. So this is the intro into what we're going to be talking about, and then in part 2, we're going to go on screen and I'm going to show you what you're going to be doing, how you're going to figure out what content to use. Later, I'll show you how you guys can use it later and why it's so important, and I'll also show you some really cool handmade Instagram profiles and how you can find which profiles you want to emulate, not imitate, but just see get inspired by. There's nothing wrong with that. So just seeing what somebody else is doing and being like, oh, I should maybe do some flat lays, or how can I incorporate that in my photography? So that's what we're going to talk about in part 2. That's what we're going to talk about in part 2, and I'm going to, remove myself from the screen. And this is like a little intro. Okay. See you in a bit. Ciao. See you in a bit.